for tonight's case. Imagine living in one of those apartments where you use a shared restroom. Do you know what I'm talking about?
A hostel.
Yes.
Ew.
And you go and you knock on the door because you want to use the restroom and somebody's taking their sweet time. You knock and wait, and then the person finally comes out. And he looks at you, starts rubbing his stomach and says, guts. You laugh, you go in, toilet's clogged. You call a plumber, they start to unclog it and find body parts.
They find guts.
They find actual guts.
Did he just... So did the guy in the bathroom just basically tell the guy, like, kill people? It's in the toilet.
That's what it sounds like. And yes, this in fact happened in Germany. So let's talk about it. Hello, I am the Grin, and joining me tonight is the lovely
Amate.
Welcome to our podcast, a place where we do not shy away from the gruesome details, where some things may be triggering and hard to hear. Listener discretion is advised. So get yourself in the right space of mind and let's talk about dark shit. You guys don't know this because I'm going to edit it out, but I'm a bit rusty because we haven't done this in a while. I didn't even remember our own introduction. But the warning is real on this one, you guys. If you are not okay with extreme body horror and disturbing acts against children, this episode is probably not for you. So come back to our new one that we'll probably be posting next week. But yes, if you are brave enough to stay, tonight I will be talking about Joachim Kroll, who was born on April 17th, 1933, in Upper Silesia, Germany, which is now Poland. And there's going to be a lot of German names and towns, so apologies in advance for the pronunciation. So Kroll was the sixth of 8 children. He had 1 brother and 6 sisters. Kroll only went to school for 5 years before quitting and started working on the family farm.
Does that mean 5th grade?
Yes.
He just stopped 5th grade?
Yeah.
Oh.
He just stopped. They just pulled him out and then has to work to help the family. The family was very poor. That's why. This was due to World War II, which his dad participated in. And, fighting with the German army. He was eventually captured by the Russian army and was held as a prisoner of war. So his dad never made it back home.
Oh.
Because you got caught by the Soviets. Well, you're an enemy, so.
Sorry if you guys hear the train again. It likes to come around this time.
Yes, apologies about that. But you know what? It adds to the creepy effect, I feel like. Yeah. Let's just
picture like it being a fog, like foggy, and then a
picture
train rolls
I don't
in.
know if you guys have seen our profile picture where we're like behind the tape and it's like dark. Just picture that when you're listening to our podcast.
I love that.
Yes.
Smart. Okay,
let's go back. After the presumed death of his father, his family moves to a small 2-bedroom home. Kroll actually had an IQ of 76, which means he had a borderline mental disability. The reason why he struggled a lot in school, and also the reason why he did not know how to read.
Oh. Okay.
Yes, he was illiterate. Kroll was small in stature and would frequently wet the bed, which I don't know if we have gone over on the podcast yet, but wetting the bed is actually what do you say, symptom of the McDonald triad?
A symptom? I don't think they call it a symptom. It's one of the traits.
Yes, there you go. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I think we did, like, way in the beginning.
Thank you. Yeah, one of the traits to the McDonald triad. So wetting the bed is one of them. And warning in advance, he will be showing other traits from the McDonald triad. He had the social skills of a third grader and was constantly ridiculed in town. He was called names like idiot and made fun of because of the bedwetting, low self-esteem, and he was very incompetent around women his age.
He was 10. Is that when he was still 10?
No, this is like him getting older.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was assuming like...
You're like, no.
He's a child. Leave him alone.
No, this is him growing up.
Okay.
Yeah. Whenever he would approach a female, I guess, he couldn't find the words. He just got nervous and just started acting weird.
I'm not going to say that isn't that a lot of guys, but there's some guys who are just socially awkward and just don't know how to talk to girls because they're like intimidated.
That's true, but I mean, he in general had low self-esteem, not just around women, but just in general.
He's just socially awkward.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah. So, after witnessing a pig get slaughtered, however, something awakened in him. A sexual desire. Yes, you heard that right. Reportedly, physically and sexually abusing animals became a frequent thing for him.
There's
Which, again, another trait. He lived on the farm until he was 22 with his mom. And this was due to him having issues living and just being around other people. He was just used to being around his mom. And in 1955, his mom would die suddenly, and all the Kroll children went their own way and eventually lost touch with each other.
Was he the young? Did it say his birth order? Was he the youngest or oldest?
He wasn't the youngest, but he wasn't the oldest either. He was like a middle child. Which, when this happened, something snapped in him. Like other murders that we will be talking about in the series or in the podcast.
Eventually.
This was a turning point. The death of a loved one. Yeah, because this really hit hard for him because his mother was basically his everything. He felt like she was the only one who understood him. And all his siblings, when she passed, turned their backs on him. So, now we're going to go to February 8th, 1955. 3 weeks after his mom died, he would commit his first murder. He lured a teenage runaway, Irmgard Strell, again, I'm sorry about the pronunciation, into a barn in Ludingshausen. He would rape and stab her repeatedly in the neck. The cuts on her stomach are similar to how a butcher would slaughter a pig. Semen was found everywhere, which made police think it was not one person, but multiple people, because there was a lot of semen.
I don't like my imagery right now.
Yeah.
No.
This is why I told you. It's pretty horrific. People think that he was able to lure her with like a gift or was promising her something. There was no DNA at the time, so they couldn't, collect the semen and test it.
Yeah, there's no point.
Yeah. After defiling the body, he would disembowel her, and her body would be found 5 days later. He was referred to as Uncle Joaquin in the neighborhood. Kids in the area would go to him and it was just like a friendly old dude who lived in the area. People didn't really have suspicions about him.
Well, it's because he had that mental issue that made him seem younger than he really was, right?
That's true.
So probably the other adults probably took pity on him.
Yes, and he was also very kind to the kids. He would always give them candy and offer to watch over them. Yeah.
You know what? Going back to his mom before she passed away, if he had his first kill 3 weeks after she died, I wonder if she knew how he thought, if that was like, his best friend. If she knew how he was or his thought process on things, like the whole, getting aroused with the whole murder of the pig, or not murder, but the butchering.
Like the slaughter of the animals?
Yeah. Like, I wonder if she knew.
I mean, maybe she might have.
Like, and she helped him with his feelings of not wanting to slaughter things.
Maybe she
Or
might
maybe
have.
this could have been actually one of those where, like, my loved one died and I'm going to go crazy.
No, it would make sense for him to talk about it with his mom and maybe her try to help him turn the other road and not go this path of a psycho killer
Yeah.
or just
And now that she's not around, there was nobody there to actually.
there was no restrictions.
Yeah.
It was a free reign to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. But we'll never know because she passed.
Yeah, that's true.
Where did I leave off? He offered to watch over the children. It's I think where I left off. Which goosebumps right there. Pretty creepy. Us knowing what we know, but the neighbors not knowing this. So neighbors would be like, yeah, whatever, watch over my kids. And they would actually let the kids go over to his place.
You know what's funny? Like, nowadays, that would not happen.
That would
not
definitely not happen.
No.
And honestly, looking or thinking about this and thinking about other cases, yeah, people would always or would frequently, not everybody, but most people would frequently let their kids.
It's sad, but people are so naive back in the old days. Or just more trusting. There you go.
There was more trust.
Yeah, because there wasn't social media, YouTube.
Exactly.
All this out
Amate.
there that can just push out like, hey, did you hear what happened in Arizona? This murderer and
now with the help of social media, everybody's eyes are open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they, like you said, they felt bad for him because he was on his own. He had no family, and he was just ill, basically. Somebody who doesn't have the social skills to interact with other humans, and basically kept to himself and just acted like a child. So people felt sympathy for him and didn't think anything else.
Wait, he wasn't living. Wait, where was he living?
He was living on the farm.
He was still living.
No, excuse me. He was living in the house that he moved in with his mom and his siblings.
Did they own it? Because how was he paying for it?
I think so. But keep in mind, it was cheap. They had to sell their farm to move there because they couldn't keep up with the farm life after the dad died.
Okay.
So after the first murder, he lived a quiet life, allegedly. And I'm going to put that in quotations because something in me just says, no, he didn't. But I can't say that he went out and did anything else because there's no evidence that points to that. Even though there are theories out there, but we will not get into that.
Is it dead cats everywhere?
Oh yeah, go disembowel some cats.
Yes, that's why nobody knows.
As long as it's not the puppies.
Mm.
Something that nobody knew is that he had a lot of dolls in his room that he hid. Now we're getting into the creepy stuff. He would use these dolls to imitate strangling and having sex. That would be his form of pleasure, which nobody knew about. And keep in mind, these dolls were located in his room while he was watching over children in the living room. Yeah, nobody knew how sick he was. 4 years later, he brutally killed Clara Frida Tesmer on June 16th, 1959.
That's weird. 4 years?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, 4 years and then you go on to your next kill?
Did he by any chance meet anybody?
What do you mean?
like maybe got in a relationship?
No.
No.
There was no record of that that I found. He murdered her in the same manner as Ingmar. He would go on to recall that she put up a fight, but he pushed her down the hill and would go on to strangle her. Her body was found the next day by 5 boys riding their bikes. Keep in mind, she was murdered the same way, stabbed and disemboweled. And these kids just found her on the road. The only difference with this murder is that there were pieces of flesh missing from her thigh and buttocks. Again, these were very precise cuts, like a butcher. So the police were like, this could probably be somebody who
Does this for a living.
does this for a living. Police were looking for someone who would be capable of this. Thus, they arrest Henrik Oat, a local mechanic. It doesn't say why.
Mechanic is not the same as butcher. They don't have the same accuracy, not that I know of.
Right? But for some reason, they go to this man. And I try to understand why a mechanic, why Henrik, but it doesn't say why. He was met with such scrutiny from the public, he would go on to hang himself in jail while waiting his trial because people were convinced. They didn't believe in, what is it? No, wait, I was thinking innocent until proven guilty, but yeah. They condemned him right away, right when police arrested him.
He probably had a shady look to him.
Maybe.
Like, why you found nothing of why they thought it was him?
No. I tried to look into it, but no. It didn't say why. Other than he was a local mechanic.
Huh.
48 miles between the two crimes, and nobody suspected Kroll.
Well, no, because he's like a child.
Yeah.
This mechanic guy, he probably like lives by himself at that house that's on the hill.
Maybe that's why. Maybe he was a very suspicious looking character, or maybe just
He probably
had
was.
a very suspicious manner.
And he was just like
Maybe
the
he was just
local mechanic.
the poor guy. Maybe he was just antisocial, and people thought, "No, you're suspicious. Why are you by yourself?" Maybe these are just theories.
Why do you have so many cars around your lot? We're the people.
On July 26, 1959, he lured and murdered Manuela Note. She was raped and strangled. After being butchered, he would go on to masturbate over her corpse. And just like with Clara, pieces of flesh from her buttocks and thigh were missing. Police thought it was a group of young perverts who were responsible. Because again, the amount of semen found on her body was insane. On February 13th, 1960, a man named Horso Otto went to the police to say he did it, but would go on to recant his statement because he didn't do it. It was obviously Kroll. He was sentenced and served only 6 years. Why he did this, nobody knows.
There's people out there. There's been cases like that. There's people out there who, for some reason, they just want to say that they committed all these horrendous crimes and they didn't do anything.
They want the street cred.
Because wasn't it the same thing for, oh my God, is it Adam Walsh?
Oh, yes.
Wasn't there also
You're
the same
right.
thing?
Yeah, because what was his name? O'Toole. O'Toole, I think, was the name of the killer. But before they figured out who the killer was, I believe you were right. I think some other guy, I'm going to say, wanted street cred. And
For street cred where? I don't get it. Like,
I don't get it either, but I feel like
in the gang of serial
in
killers.
the gang of killers, they're like, yeah,
They
I
all
killed
hang
this
out.
person. This is what I did.
That's so stupid. Yeah, I don't get that.
It's dumb. I don't get why.
Yeah.
I don't get why this man did it, but he would go on to recant his statement, and
He probably thought he was so cool.
maybe.
Dumbass. Oh my God.
Again, Kroll is on nobody's radar. Since the attacks on the girls were from random towns far away from where he lived, The crimes happened miles apart from each other as well. On April 23rd, 1962, 13-year-old Petra Gies's body was found in some bushes. She was raped, strangled with her scarf and her dress torn. Her buttocks, this time, was completely removed, as well as her left forearm and hand. Police arrested 52-year-old Vincent Quen, who was a sex offender and a child molester in the area. He was convicted of the crime and sentenced to 12 years in a psychiatric hospital and released after serving 6 years.
Okay, what proof, what evidence do they have to convict all these people? It was not all these people. So far, it's 2.
It's 2. The first one, I don't know why. The second one, he
has a history.
wanted a street cred.
Oh, the second one, yeah.
Yeah, and then the third one, this one,
he has a bad history of
the bad history. Yes, he was a convicted sex offender.
But did they have proof that he was near that child or near the house?
He
or
lived
anything?
in the area, and I'm assuming because she was 13 and because he lived in the area, immediately fingers were pointed to him. There was, to my knowledge and to my research, any proper evidence that pointed to him. It was just...
I'm not trying to excuse the guy's a bad guy, but I don't see evidence that he was involved in it. Just that he was a nasty ass pervert who did the things he did, but
I feel like
I don't get it.
People are just wanting somebody to blame for these crimes, some sort of justice that they would point the finger to.
So that's how it was back then, huh?
Yeah, honestly.
There's no evidence, but you seem close enough to be the bad guy.
You're the bad guy.
Then it must be you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, just
imagine how many people back then, though. What?
I was going to say, just look at the United States history with witches.
Yeah, sure.
Which we'll get to maybe in Halloween. That's a good episode. Okay, now we're going to jump to June 4th, 1962, in Waltham. He killed 12-year-old Monica Taffel, who was on her way to school. She was killed in the same manner. Pieces of flesh from her buttocks and thigh were sliced off. The Waltham police were the first ones to realize they might be dealing with a cannibal, which they're the first ones who had their light bulbs flicker. Walter Quicker, who was a convicted pedophile, was arrested for the murder, but released due to insufficient evidence. But on October 5th of that same year, he was driven to suicide by neighbors.
I don't know how to put to words. There's no proof. There's no evidence for them to capture these people.
Yes.
But
aside from the first one, the other two, they had their really disgusting pasts.
Yeah. But for this guy, so much was put on him, you did it. And he was like, no, I didn't. I'm just going to end myself. Because nobody believes me, even though I did. Yes, I did do this other stuff back then, but I didn't do this one. It's not fair. Well, at least one of the bad guys is off the streets, I guess.
I don't know.
It's weird.
I don't know. I have a weird feeling about it. It's just, yes, he's a nasty, horrible pedophile. It's disgusting, but the actual evil, disgusting man is still out there.
I know. That's why I don't know how to put to words. I feel awkward saying that, there's no proof. This guy didn't do it. Why is he behind bars?
Yeah.
But he also did nasty ass shit.
Yeah.
So he should be. Yeah. Or he should have been this whole time.
Yeah.
But he didn't do this one. It's just, I feel weird inside saying that.
This is why the justice system is just so, messy. September 3rd, 1962. He rapes and murders 12-year-old Barbara Bruder. She was on her way to the playground when she decided to take a shortcut through the woods. And when she encountered Kroll, he was never charged for her murder since her body would never be found. Like jumping into the future when he's eventually caught. He confessed to this child's murder, but he forgot where he disposed of the body.
Oh my God.
And the body was never found.
Was he actually eating them? Eating pieces of them?
We haven't gone there yet, but yes, we are dealing with a cannibal, people.
Ew.
Yes.
Okay.
He was consuming his trophies.
It was mainly all thighs and...
Thighs, buttocks. One of the little girls...
was forearm, you said, right?
Was the forearm and hand. Well, he was never charged with her murder since her body was never found. But he did admit to killing her. And she's the only one, till this day, that the body has not been found, unfortunately. And for that reason, he wasn't charged for it. Keep in mind that DNA in Germany wasn't a thing until 1988. So this man is leaving behind vital pieces of evidence that cannot be used. And the wide use of DNA wasn't a thing until 2017.
Really?
Yep.
2017?
Yep.
That is not long ago.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
When you said, what did you say in Germany? 1988?
It wasn't a thing until 1988,
See,
but the wide use of it wasn't a thing until 2017.
See, I'm all thinking like, oh, probably in the States it was already used by like 1993 or something.
No.
2017?
Yep.
Oh my, I don't know why I thought we were just at least, more advanced.
A part of me is like, 2017 was just yesterday, but then it kind of hits me right now that no, 2017 was a minute, but it's still like pretty recent.
Yeah.
We're in 2024.
Oh, that was 7 years ago. I'm all counting. I'm like, how long was that?
You guys can't see this right now, but Amate's using fingers.
I had to make sure.
But yeah, I was shocked when I read that.
Yeah, I'm shocked too.
Her world has been rocked. August 22nd, 1965. Hermann Schmitz and his girlfriend Marion Wien were on a date on Lover's Lane in Duisburg, Grossenbaum. Things started to get a little steamy in the car, and who is there but nasty old Kroll watching them from afar. That's when he made up his mind that he wanted Marion. So to get her, he slashed the front tires of their Volkswagen, and when Herman got out to check what was going on, Kroll immediately ambushes him and immediately starts to stab him in the chest. Marion, taking quick action after witnessing the attack on her boyfriend, jumps on the driver's side and tries to run Kroll over with the car, but he manages to escape. Herman succumbs to his wounds. He is the only male victim of Kroll.
Okay, so he has a thing for younger girls.
Younger girls.
How old was this couple?
Good question. I believe they were teenagers.
Maybe she just looked younger.
No age.
No age?
No age.
Maybe maybe she was just tiny.
Maybe. Maybe it's the petite statures.
Probably.
Ugh, that feels so gross to say. September 13th, 1966. Ursula Rolling was on her way home after spending a day with her boyfriend, Adolf Schickel. She takes a shortcut through the park when Kroll approaches her and drags her to the bushes, where he would go on to rape and strangle her. He then runs off to catch his train back home. Since Adolf was the last person to be seen with her, he was immediately accused of the crime. But after police questioned him, they let him go since they had no evidence. However, neighbors, again with their pitchforks, chased him out of the town, and 4 months later, he would commit suicide.
Oh my God! This case has so many, deaths, and they are related to him, but it's just suicidal. Oh my
I know.
God. So technically, if you think about it, the boyfriend wasn't the only male who was
If you
murdered by him,
if you
I guess.
yeah, I was gonna say, if you think about it, there are other deaths that you could connect to this man.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I don't think it was the boyfriend who was the only one who was the only male. The
You
other
know,
guys did too.
yeah.
They're connected.
In your eyes, they're connected.
Yeah.
There has to be justice,
Yeah,
but
it's him.
it's gross.
And the other one, the last one who committed suicide, you said he was a young guy?
Her boyfriend?
Yeah.
Yes.
See? And he wasn't a bad guy. Well, that we know of.
No, he was not. Nowhere did it say that he was a pedophile or had um, a history of rape of any sort. He was just her boyfriend. They were just two young people in love. And because he was the last person to be with her, he was immediately accused. And in my mind, when I was reading this, I could just imagine people like going up to these guys' houses with, like, again, the pitchforks and the torches and just chasing them out, just going crazy. I guess because this is like in the 50s and 60s, people would take justice into their own hands, probably.
Like small
Especially,
towns,
yeah,
right?
small towns, villages, especially because these are little girls, honestly.
Yeah.
Speaking of little girls, December 22nd, 1966, 5-year-old Ilona Harkey was kidnapped. She is raped, strangled, and drowned in a ditch in Wuppertal. The reason he drowned her was because he wanted to see what that would look like.
Because he was curious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
On June 22nd, 1967, Gabrielle Putman was lured into a field by Kroll. There, he forced her to look at pornographic images until she fainted. When he attempted to strangle her, he heard bells and he immediately thought it was the police. He left in a panic, but the bells were coming from a local mine that signified that the shifts were changing at work. She's the only known survivor. Her parents, for unknown reasons, never reported the incident to police until Kroll was arrested.
How old was she again?
Let's take a look. Gabrielle, no age. But again, I'm assuming young because he's targeting young girls.
Yeah. The one before that was 5.
Right? I haven't read a girl that's older than 20. So, and the previous one to her was a 5-year-old little girl.
I wonder why the parents didn't say anything.
I feel like maybe it could be, this is me assuming, this is the Grinch speaking. I feel like it could be one of those things where at the time, because this was, again, in the 60s, if and it feels kind of gross to say, if you were a victim of rape or like abuse, it's looked down upon. And for that reason, you don't want to make it public.
She was a child.
But even then,
like your own child.
Even then, I feel like, because I don't know, I feel like people, that's the mentality of some people. You feel like it's kind of like a dishonor.
I've never seen it like that. Or I never heard of it like that.
I think I did run into a case that was like that. I need to look into that. But maybe that's why. That's one assumption. That was me speaking. That was never put in any record of some sort. But I don't know why the other reason would be that they wouldn't go and report this.
Or
again, modern times now, if this happened, yeah, go to the cops. Do something about this. But they kept it quiet. Or maybe, here's another theory, maybe they were scared that she was alive and he would come back and get her.
Maybe. Or could have made, I don't know, maybe she just didn't tell her parents what happened.
But it said that she did.
Oh, she did
tell her parents. They just didn't go to the cops. But she is the only known survivor.
Poor girl.
Yeah. He laid low after that for a few years because he thought it was a close call with Gabrielle. Until July 12th, 1969, when he met Maria Hetgen. When he tried to strike up a conversation, she was not interested. She showed no interest in him. This immediately pissed him off. He followed her, and when he got the chance, pushed her into a bush, strangled her, and raped her. Maria was 61.
Oh.
Yeah. And
And that was the first one that he actually like tried to make moves on?
like just strike up a conversation with.
Oh, just a conversation.
Just a conversation. And this is, I feel like, why he attacked her. And even though it's a big difference in age, is because of that reason. He felt insulted. And that angered him. I feel like, again, that's an assumption, because the previous victims were young girls.
Yeah. And it's already been, what, 14 years of this now?
14 years. I already lost count how many girls, not including the guys who killed themselves due to him.
Yeah.
May 21st, 1970, 13-year-old Jutta Ron was attacked when she took a shortcut through some woods. After he raped and strangled her, he then ran to catch his train back home again. Peter Shea was accused of her murder. He was her neighbor and the same age as her. He was in jail for 15 months before he was released due to lack of evidence.
Oh my God, I thought you were saying he was going to kill himself in the...
You're like,
I was waiting. I was like, please don't say that.
I know. You guys can't see this right now, but Amate was holding her breath.
Jeez, they actually let him go though.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And no, he did not kill himself. So
poor kid.
Yeah. All because he was her neighbor and same age. I don't know how this worked in people's heads back then, how they could just accuse somebody of the most, randomest things. It's actually kind of scary, actually.
Well, yeah. It almost kind of makes me feel like if I were to like, let's say I hit the wall and my hand's bleeding, you're right here next to me in the room. They're like, oh, he did it. That's the most logical. He's next to her. He did it.
Honestly,
right?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. May 8th, 1976. 6 years after Joachim Kroll's rape. And this man goes on to kill Karin Topfer. She was 10 years old. And again, nobody suspected him. July 3rd, 1976. After 21 years, he breaks his own rule, because I don't know if y'all has caught this. Yes. He attacked somebody from his own town. Because this is why he was able to get away for this long.
Because it wasn't where he lived.
Yeah. He wasn't attacking in his area. He was catching trains, going far away, miles away, and one of them 48 miles away, to commit crimes.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of that, what is it? Golden State Killer?
Yeah.
Who used trains, murdered around the trains.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's crazy.
So, honestly, researching about this, remember, this man was taken out of school. He didn't have a high IQ and basically had a mental disability where he was just perceived as a child. He just acted like a child. But he was kind of smart. He's intelligent.
Because he didn't shit where he slept?
Yeah.
So ladylike. But it's true.
It's true. It's true. But yeah, he eventually breaks the rule, and lures his youngest victim, 4-year-old Marion Ketter, from his neighborhood instead of going to another town. He lures her into his apartment, where he goes on to dismember her and cannibalize her. And to completely get rid of the body, since this was a crime that was committed in his apartment, he would go on to flush pieces of her down the toilet, pieces that were not cannibalized.
So, okay, so the other ones that he did this to, he would just dismember them and leave the bodies there.
He would just cut slices, like certain body parts off.
And then take them home.
And then take them home to cannibalize them.
And then this one, because it was at home.
He had to completely get rid of the body. You're like, there's an ache there in your face.
I don't even know what to think right now.
You have no words.
No.
Days later, a neighbor approached him asking if he knew why the shared toilet wasn't working. Kroll looks at the neighbor and says, "Guts." And then the neighbor laughs and walks away. But when the neighbor went to take a closer look and to try to fix it, he started noticing that intestines were rising up. He called the cops immediately, and he thinks it's from an animal. They immediately go to Kroll. Once inside his apartment, they find Marion's dismembered body. Parts were in the freezer, others were in the refrigerator, and he showed the cops the stew that he was making, and he did it all very proudly. He was arrested without putting up a fight. There, he confessed to all 13 murders. He confessed to cannibalism. When they asked him why he was cannibalizing, he replied, "Meat's expensive."
Shut up. Oh my God. I thought he was going to say, what is long pig?
What?
Isn't that the term for human flesh? I think it's called long pig.
I've never heard of that.
I think
Long
it is.
pig?
I'm going to look it up right now, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what that is.
Is that what cannibals use? That's the term?
Yes. So long pig, yeah. Human flesh used as food.
Ew.
That dates back to the mid-19th century.
What the fuck?
Well, because I just thought of that term because, you know, it first started with the butchering of the pig.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It always starts off with a pig. There's going to be another case that it like just hit right now on the noggin of a pig being slaughtered and another killer being aroused. And I will talk about it. Amate, you probably don't know what it is, but it just hit me right now, and I will talk about it. Also has to do with cannibalism. Also has to do with disgusting sexual.
Is it a movie?
Desires. No.
Okay.
It's an actual crime.
No, I know, but I know there's some movies based off real killers.
Oh no, not this one. But this one was very gruesome. But going back to this one. Yeah, he just looks at them and says, "Meat is expensive."
He's in his 40s by now, right?
Mm-hmm. He also confessed to necrophilia because he wanted to be with the women who wouldn't complain about his performance. That's why.
No. He can't call them women. They were babies.
Yeah. That's why he also liked his dolls, because his dolls couldn't tell him, "You're performing poorly."
Ew.
This immediately shocked the neighborhood. He had no issues reenacting his crimes to police, and he did this because he thought they would give him a cure to stop his urges of rape and murder. In fact, this man wanted castration, since in Germany, some sex offenders were castrated up until 2012 when it was banned.
I'm indifferent with that. With the whole castrating of sex offenders, because they can still offend because it's in their head.
It is.
It's not just the member. They have these thoughts. It's in them.
He thought he was going to be cured and released back into the public as a regular citizen. He was in prison for 3 years before his trial. The trial lasted 151 days. He was convicted of 9 murders due to time and evidence. He was sentenced to 9 life sentences, and he would eventually die in 1991 of a heart attack after spending 9 years in prison.
He died of a heart attack and only spent 9 years in prison.
Correct. Doesn't that make you sick?
Yes. Only 9 years. Oh my God.
And a list of victims, I think 15, 16 victims, not counting the people who committed suicide because they were falsely accused. And
They should be included.
they should be included, but only 9 years.
And then he died of a heart attack.
And he dies of a heart attack. You guys can't see this right now, but we have no words.
No, I'm just staring at the wall. I don't even know what to think. See, that's not justice.
It's angry because you feel it's like not.
He should have lived out his
sentence.
Sad, pathetic, freaking his whole life. His whole life should have been in that prison.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like this one.
This one was a very.
Well, I don't like any of them, but this was just.
This one was a violent one.
And it was over 20 years of doing all this and never getting caught. All these poor little children.
Yeah. With the exception of the one woman who...
The elderly lady.
Allegedly, or to him, insulted him. Which was the only reason he killed her.
Yeah. I have nothing to say right now.
Yeah. No words, people. Let us know how you feel about this one. Amate here looks pretty sick-stricken. It was an intense one. No real justice was served if you look back at it. And this man was just doing it, never feeling remorseful, is the other sickening part.
And I don't think the whole low IQ has anything to do with it either.
No, I don't think so either, because looking back at how he would go miles away to kill and then just know how to do it in a discreet way where he wouldn't get caught. He was intelligent. Yeah.
The whole low IQ thing is probably meant to what does this sentence say? I don't know. I'm but he couldn't read, so
he was illiterate, so
yeah, see, so it's probably those kind of tests.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
And I was just mentioning this to Amate before we started recording, but I'm not telling you to do it, but if you go and look at this man's pictures, he has the serial killer eyes.
Oh, yeah, his face. Oh, no, yeah, no.
Yeah. No, it wasn't that one that I showed you.
It wasn't that guy?
No,
oh,
it wasn't
my God.
That guy. No, I showed you somebody else. And no, but if you look up this specific guy's picture, which I'm not telling you to do, but I mean, you do you. He has the serial killer eyes.
Most definitely.
Soulless,
beady.
You're looking at the mugshot or at the picture of this individual, and you just get the heebie-jeebies. You're like, something's fucked up about you, and I'm gonna read about it, and I'm gonna not like it. But yeah,
that just feels like such a judgy thing to do. You first meet somebody. You've done some fucked up shit. Look at that. Just looking at somebody, you've done some shit.
Which, leading this to a lighter note, I mean, we came back from Italy, and yeah, this is our first episode recording coming back from Italy. I don't know if you guys follow us on Instagram, but you should. We did make an announcement there. One of our friends who we had as a guest on the podcast, Wilder, he was actually stopped by, what do you call it, immigration? No.
Oh, it was Border Patrol.
Border Patrol. Because, should I tell the story?
Yes, I forgot.
I feel like, okay, so we all passed by the Border Patrol people in Germany. We were all asked questions about our visit,
intense questions like why, who.
Basic questions that you would ask. Funny thing, actually, Amate and our other friend, Amethyst, who was also a guest on here, were asked these questions, I feel like Amate got a really intense person. And
I
I was so nervous going up. My guy, the one who interviewed, asked me questions, he only asked me 4 questions and then was like, okay, go. And I was like, okay. And then
I don't have a scary look. I'm least
I feel
intimidating.
like, I feel like you, Amethyst, and Wilder have probably intense looks. I don't know.
No, we already had this conversation in
Oh,
my
wait.
passport photo that I just look like a deer in headlights.
That's true, actually. We did have this conversation.
Yes.
I don't know why Amethyst, though. But she also was just like, oh, they didn't have her go and like get patted down. Wilder, however, got patted down after he was like, yeah, we had like a full on conversation. I made her laugh, and I was like, there's your mistake. She probably thought you're hiding something with all your charm and charisma.
Mm-hmm. And it didn't help that his passport just
Looked like a mugshot.
Oh, you're so mean connecting his passport photo to like killers.
I wanted to leave this on a bright note because this story was so heavy, or this case was so heavy.
Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah.
They're doing their job, but
It was pretty funny. I go up to the gate where we're gonna go catch the plane, and Amadi's like, "Where is he?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's getting patted down, and he's getting his bag searched and everything."
oh yeah, that's right. They searched through all his bags.
It was hilarious. It's like something that we're like telling you, but you have to be there to like, actually know what we're talking about. Oh my gosh.
That was funny.
That was pretty funny.
Good times. Good,
Good
times.
times, good times. But yes, that's why I'm a bit rusty. I feel like I'm a bit rusty because I think we took like 2 weeks off from recording. 3 weeks off from recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was about 2 weeks.
Yeah. So I feel like a little rusty. I don't know. Well, I'm going to edit it out, but yeah, I had to re-record or redo the introduction because I forgot our own introduction.
We're still in the whole mindset of, we're still in Italy.
We are. Italy was amazing, you guys. But yes, we were supposed to record in Italian cases. Amadi was going to do one. I was going to do one, but it was just, we didn't
5 days isn't enough.
find the time. 5 days wasn't enough. 5 days, you actually want to go and explore this country because it's so beautiful, especially in Venice. That's where we stayed. Oh my goodness. Highly, highly recommend.
Buildings, the streets.
Architecture, people, food. I am still daydreaming. My heart is still over there. Other announcements before we sign off is we are on YouTube.
Yes, we are.
Go look us up. We're Let's Talk About Dark Shit, but the
Podcast.
shit is S-H-S. What?
SHT.
S-H-T.
Yeah, because I don't think I was allowed.
We are not allowed to put the I in there.
No.
And it's podcast.
Yeah, so Let's Talk About Dark Shit podcast.
Yes.
It still says the same thing. But
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
But YouTube says no. But yes, we are uploading like the full long episodes. All of those are already up there, along with like snippets that you can also find on our TikTok. I don't know if you guys know, but we have a TikTok. Go subscribe to our YouTube. Go follow us on Instagram, and go. What is it? Is it follow or subscribe on TikTok? I don't have a TikTok.
Follow?
So.
I think it's follow on TikTok.
Okay. Yeah, Amadi's the one who's like been running the TikTok. I know nothing of it.
Okay. You cannot say running because I'm just barely, I'll like go in there once a week just to try to do something.
But you've actually edited and like uploaded and done stuff.
I'm trying. I'm learning.
I don't know about that. I feel like I have Instagram, and the other ones just freak me out. I don't know what I'm doing.
They
And
freak you.
I feel like such an old person saying this.
Well, I'm looking up like on YouTube how to make TikTok videos.
Yeah, it's been a rough one.
Well, we're still learning how to do the
We're
whole
still-
social media thing.
Yes, we're still. Can't even speak. Yeah, we're still learning how to run all that. And yes, apologies if things look a little rough or sound a little rough.
But thank you so much for the followers that we are starting to have now.
Yeah, and to all the new listeners, thank
Yeah.
you so much for even like clicking and listening and decide to want to like follow us on this crazy journey, because there's some of you that are new and are from other parts of the world, which is crazy.
Yes, I know.
That's
Thank
so
you.
crazy. But yes, with that, remember to be well
Be safe.
and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.